Imagine life as a grand stage, where every soul enters unaware of the script. Some arrive with dreams so pure, they shine like lighthouses in the dark. One such soul was Edmond, young, honest, bright-eyed. He believed in truth, in loyalty, in love. But the world, oh, the world had other plans. Picture a man standing at the helm of a ship, the wind in his hair, the horizon calling. That was Edmond Dantès, a sailor with a heart unspoiled by betrayal. He had everything to live for, a noble future, the love of a woman, and the trust of his crew. But behind the curtains, envy stirred. Jealousy wears many masks, a friend's smile, a colleague's silence, a lover's doubt. And before he could raise his sails toward destiny, three shadows cast him into the abyss. False letters, twisted words, silent nods. They didn't kill him. No, they buried him alive, in the cold stone tomb of Château d'If. And so, the film begins. Imagine a man screaming into darkness, days bleeding into nights, hope replaced by madness, time losing meaning. That's what injustice does. It doesn't break your bones. It fractures your soul. But in every great film, there's a turning point, a crack in the wall, a meeting with fate. In the silence of his cell, Edmond met a man, a priest, half mad, half genius, not just a fellow prisoner, but a mirror to the mind. He taught Edmond not to wait for justice, but to become it. He taught him languages, science, swordplay, but above all, how to think. To see the world not as it seems, but as it truly is. And when death finally came for the priest, he left behind a map, not just to treasure, but to transformation. Edmond didn't escape prison. He escaped his former self. He died in that cell, and was reborn as something else. Now imagine this: a body tossed into the sea, wrapped in death's disguise. But it's not the end. It's the beginning. He rises from the ocean like myth reborn, not as Edmond, but as something new, as vengeance cloaked in elegance, as justice sharpened into silence. The treasure he unearthed was not just gold, but knowledge, power, and the means to become a ghost among men, a whisper in elite salons, a shadow in royal courts, a mystery feared by the very ones who buried him. He called himself the Count of Monte Cristo. Imagine the transformation. A man wronged becomes a man unreadable. His eyes no longer seek approval. They pierce the truth. His voice no longer begs for mercy. It commands storms. He dances through Parisian high society like a phantom, every gesture rehearsed, every move a step in the silent choreography of revenge. And yet, revenge is not clean. It's not poetic. It's messy. It drips. It stains. One by one, the traitors fall, crushed not by blades, but by their own sins, mirrored back at them. But as the Count watches them crumble, a question creeps in. Am I still Edmond? Or has the mask become the man? And you, watching this unfold, have you ever lost yourself in pursuit of justice? Have you worn a mask so long, you forgot what your real face looked like? If these words stir something deep inside you, if stories like this make your heart beat louder, then this channel is for you. Subscribe to Psychology of Happiness, where we turn timeless tales into soul-awakening moments. Because your story is still being written, every great story has its price, and for the Count, that price wasn't paid in gold, but in sleepless nights, haunted silence, and broken hearts. Because revenge, no matter how just, always demands something in return. He watched as his enemies destroyed themselves, but he also watched the light in his own soul flicker. He became what he hated: cold, calculating, controlled. There were moments when he caught his reflection in the mirror and didn't recognize the man staring back. Was this justice? Or just another prison? The ones he loved, they didn't know him anymore. Mercedes, his once beloved, had moved on. She mourned Edmond, but she never knew the Count. And in that realization, the final twist of the knife. He had become legend, feared, powerful, untouchable, but also alone. Isn't that the truth for many of us? We build castles to protect ourselves, only to find we've bricked ourselves in. We chase success, retribution, validation. But in the end, we lose the very thing we were trying to protect, our heart. Monte Cristo stood on the edge of everything. Fortune, power, revenge, fulfilled. And still, he felt hollow. Because healing never comes through hurting. Not truly. There comes a moment in every story when silence speaks louder than vengeance, when the storm settles and the soul stands bare beneath the wreckage. For the Count, that moment arrived not with a sword, but with a whisper. A quiet plea for mercy from an innocent soul caught in his web of revenge. And something shifted. He saw the faces of those he'd destroyed, and the innocence lost along the way. But more than that, he saw the young man he used to be, Edmond, still buried beneath the layers of pain and pride, still whispering, "You were meant for more than this." So he let go, of rage, of titles, of the Count. He gave the fortune away. He asked no one to remember him. He simply walked away, toward the horizon, toward peace, toward the unknown, and maybe, just maybe, toward himself. Because this was never just a story about revenge. It was about rebirth, about how the deepest betrayals can crack you open wide enough to rebuild something stronger and more human. Monte Cristo wasn't a man. He was a mirror, and in his journey we see our own, the climb from despair, the fire of transformation, the cost of justice, and the quiet miracle of choosing to heal. So, if you've ever felt broken, forgotten, betrayed, know this: your darkest chapter is not your final scene. You are the author, the hero, and the redemption. If this story moved something inside you, if it reminded you that no pain is ever wasted, then stay with us. Subscribe to Psychology of Happiness. Because your life is a film in the making, and every frame counts. You are not what they did to you. You are what you choose to rise into. Story in a minute. Subscribe. Transformation. Begin again.